Hello, I'm Lauren, and it has been a minute since I posted something here on YouTube, but I've sort of been really into making art, not as much talking about it, I guess, lately, or sharing it, and then I got sick for a while, but I feel compelled to share the things that I'm currently loving, probably because I'm currently binging this kind of video. So if you're interested to see what kind of supplies I've been gravitating towards lately, hey, let's hang out. So I do want to swatch as I go along. So I'm going to move everybody over. I'm going to be swatching in a sketchbook that is a 4 size, and this is the beta series of the Stillman and Byrne sketchbooks. 26 pages in here, good for mixed media. I have used the alpha now as well, and I really like it for the kind of work that I'm currently doing, but the beta works pretty well too. So what have I been enjoying the most? I think I'm going to talk about first my current loves, and that is colored pencils. I've been getting into colored pencils more and more, not really on their own. I am currently really embracing a sort of mixed media style, and the sort of texture and color range of colored pencils and the detail, but you can still be loose with them. I'm loving colored pencil over things. And this is a selection of the ones that I'm currently enjoying the most. I'd like to talk about these guys first. So I got some Derwent drawing pencils for Christmas, and they are awesome. The color range of the Derwent drawing is absolutely beautiful, but these, of the ones that I have, these aren't maybe necessarily my favorite colors, but they're definitely the ones that I seem to use over and over. Except for this one, which I've only sort of been reaching for more recently, but I think that's because of the kind of work that I've currently been doing. I've been doing a lot more sort of natural animal kind of stuff lately, so I think that's why this is getting a little bit more use. But let's maybe just go lightest to darkest here. So the lightest one that I've been using a lot is Wheat 5715 in the Derwent drawing, and let's just make a nice swatch here. I'll bring this closer at the end. Just a nice sort of beigey, yellowy color that is good for so many things. A staple. Then there are 2 grays, a cool gray and a warm gray. It seems that the cool gray I've been gravitating towards more, but I do use the warm gray as well. So this first one is the cool gray. I just wanted to make a video today that's just a little more chatty. And this warm gray, which has a little bit more sort of brown in it, but is still an absolutely beautiful gray. And just the texture of these pencils, they go down beautifully, like almost over almost anything. They are a joy to use. My most used pencil is Olive Earth. It is a perfect green, so anything that has any sort of natural grassy tree kind of something, this has been an amazing pencil, and I think my most used pencil over the last couple months. Then we have Chocolate, which, like I said, is sort of more recently I've been discovering it more and using it more, but it's this very rich, deep brown, getting close to maybe even sort of black. Has been a great sort of final step in a lot of pieces. And then finally, Ink Blue. I'd been using Ink Blue a lot until I got this Caran d'Ache pencil because what's this one called? Payne's Gray. So this is the basic Payne's Gray. So they're very similar. So I'd been using the ink blue before I got the Caran d'Ache pencil, which is just a beautiful inky dark blue for outlining and sketching. But since I got the Luminance, I found that the darker colors in the Durant drawing, you have to be a little bit careful because they can smudge fairly easily, like as you can see there, whereas in the Luminance doesn't. So the Luminance in the Payne's Gray is so similar that I have been gravitating to this one more, which it looks like it it looks here like it smudges just as much, but so those two I've sort of been using interchangeably, even though the inky blue is definitely a more blue sort of color. And then in the Prismacolor line, these are my two favorites that I love. I think this one, Lime Peel, might be my favorite pencil crayon. It's this very yellowy yet earthy green, which just pops off of so many different colors. Very, very versatile. And then I've also been enjoying Crimson Lake. It's a sort of reddish burgundy, crimson-y color. So these are, I've been using the other color pencils as well, but these are the ones that I definitely have been using the most, and they're just beautiful. Like, this is my favorite, that olive, what is it called again? Olive Earth in the Durant drawing, and Lime Peel. Love those. So yeah, so been loving me some colored pencils, and these are in the last few months, and these are the ones that I've been reaching for. All right, so maybe on the same vein, we'll talk about some of these crayons. So the Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2 is basically sort of like a crayon that has a lot more pigment in it and is also water soluble. So you can use water and it turns into like a watercolor basically, and then becomes it's not waxy. Then you can draw over it with pencil crayon or things like that. And these are is there 6 of them? The 6 that I'm drawn to most often. It seems with these a little bit goes a long way, or maybe I'm just not using them as much now that I've really fallen in love with the pencil crayons. But I just wanted to go through these 6 that are my favorites. So this one is Light Cobalt Blue, a beautiful light sky sort of blue that has almost a little sort of gray to it. Just a beautiful blue. And then this one broke, which I actually kind of like. I use it a lot more now that it's broken, but I think that it is called Sky Blue, I'm pretty sure, but I can't know for sure. I tried to match it up online. I'm pretty sure that this is Sky Blue. So Sky Blue is sort of a lavender, purpley based blue that is good for many things. Then my 2 favorite greens. This is Light Olive, which is very similar to Lime Peel. I obviously love this sort of yellowy green and find a lot of use for it in things. And then Moss Green is my go-to darker shade. I also find every once in a while you need a pink, and this salmon pink fits the bill for me. It hasn't gotten used a lot, but when you need it, it's just sort of the perfect pink color. And then the Payne's Gray, which has gotten a fair amount of use. So I think I'm gonna use this water brush and just wet some of these a little bit, just so sort of see how they look when they've been pulled down. So this sky blue is just so beautiful as a paint. These two together make beautiful skies. The greens, what is this guy called again? Light olive. And then the moss. Green. Salmon pink. That nice sort of millennial-y kind of pink. It's a warmer pink, not as cool as the other one. And then the Payne's gray, which I'm really starting to be a Payne's gray person. I use it in a lot of places over black, except for black ink. All right, so those are the Neo colors that I have been loving. That's actually quite a nice palette just together. There, those 6. So up next, I now have a few acrylic markers. The reason that I've been using these is because I'm enjoying mixed media. When I go urban sketching or sketching outside or painting outside, I want to use the pencil crayons and the Neo colors. And although I still use my watercolor, it just doesn't seem to have the punch that I want all the time anymore. So these acrylic markers really work well for that. They're fast and easy. They sort of force you often to work with a limited palette because you can't carry that many of them, especially a big one like this. And I find it's made for some interesting art when I'm out and about. So this first one, this is a Molotow marker, and this is the big size, and it's called Broad, 15mm nib. It's huge. I just loved this blue color, which is called, so I think it's called Ceramic Light Pastel 202. I'm pretty sure that that's the color of these. These Molotow markers are refillable, as well as you can buy new nibs for them. You do get a little bit of residue in the cap, but even when I'm out, it hasn't caused any huge issues. Oh, he needs to be mixed a little bit more. Getting a lot of blue you don't normally get. I should have shaken it for longer, but we get this beautiful pastel blue very quickly and dries very quickly, especially if you push it around. And you can get a lot of punch very simply from that one. With that is sort of more of a mid-tone. I've also been enjoying this marker. This is a twin tip. So it has a 1.5mm and a 4mm nib. So one nib is the small size and one nib is the larger size. And that's nice. I'm just gonna make sure this one's actually shaken up properly. And that's nice because then you can sort of fill in larger areas with this one. And then if you want matching in a smaller area, you have this smaller, and so this large nib makes large lines, and it's in the same color and in one convenient package. And I bought this Posca marker almost a year ago, and I didn't think it worked. Turns out I had to shake it really well. So once I started using these other markers and started figuring out just how much shaking they really need before they use them, I tried this white one, with a lot of shaking, and suddenly it works really well. It goes over almost anything with a nice white. So obviously you can't see it there, but so over this blue, over the neo color, over the pencil crayon, it's great. It's very white, goes over anything. Actually, here, let's just do the neo color before it. So you have to be a little bit careful because it will activate it if you push too hard, but it'll give you a white line on anything. Turns out you just need to shake it really, really well, and suddenly you get those beautiful white lines that everyone was talking about with Posca and I hadn't experienced. Up next, my favorite pen, the Sailor Feud nib. This is a fountain pen with a nib that is Feud, F-U-D-E, meaning that it is at this, I think this one's a 55-degree angle it goes up, which means you can get very thick lines, but you can also get thinner lines and thinner, and as you turn the pen, you can get thinner and thinner lines. Even on the back, you can flip it over and get even thinner. This is an awesome pen. It makes very interesting sketches because it's not completely controllable, but the ink seems to flow in it great. It hasn't jammed. It just is smooth, easy to write. I have the converter in it, so I have been using the Noodler's black ink, which is waterproof ink, so I can do watercolor over it or neocolor, as well as I do use this then over top of these as well too. So like the acrylic marker, I'll go over, or pencil crayon and the neocolor when it's isn't as good, but still possible. So this has been, and then you can still use it for under watercolor or on top of watercolor too. With that, I do also now travel with, this is a Pentel brush pen. You can really lay down, and I find it makes sort of more interesting shapes. This is also refillable, but refillable with, I forget, I have to turn it. It's refillable with cartridges, which is lovely. So you don't have to rebuy the entire pen. It even comes with a couple cartridges the first time you purchase it. And it makes also very interesting marks. And the brush is like actually a brush, as opposed to like some markers that have these brush ends. This is an actual brush, so you have just a little bit more control with that, I would say. And then finally, the last three supplies that I've really been enjoying are these three gouache paints by Holbein. The first two, the orange and the amber, come in the fall set that they released. I think it's probably a couple years ago now. And then this one is ash blue. So I'm just going to, maybe I'll use this pen again. It doesn't work as well, but so this is the orange in gouache. So this is the traditional gouache, so it will reactivate with water, but it is just a beautiful rusty orange color with, I love a convenience color. I'm getting better at mixing and not hating mixing as much, but if there's a beautiful color that I can just use, I'll probably do that. So this orange is one of them, as well as the amber. I also find this amber is really good in mixes. It mixes nicely with other paints to make interesting like greens and oranges, so this is the amber color of the Holbein gouache. being that it's a yellow, it's not as opaque as some of the other ones like this ash blue, but it does a good job. So this ash blue didn't come in the set. I think the ash blue is a fairly common, oh, I put way too much down. A fairly common loved Holbein paint. Let's do it a little more water over here. Just a beautiful inky blue, just a gorgeous color. And I don't normally use the water pen with these, but I just realized that I didn't get a palette and my bowl and things out like that. I wasn't thinking paint when I had these. So yeah, so these are my current loves, the ones that if I lost, I would go out and these would be the first ones that I would be buying. I hope that you found it interesting. If you did like going through and seeing some of the things that I've been really enjoying lately, leave a like. Consider subscribing. I post very irregularly just when the mood suits me because I just want to share. All right. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are. Bye. Thanks for hanging out.